Up next, I'm going to bring up somebody very special to me. So we would not be here without this person. This person happens to be a three-time main stage presenter on at TruffleCon. And I know that he will be in all the ones to come. Without him, like I said, without him, we wouldn't be here. I'd like to bring to the stage Mr. Joseph Lubin, CEO of Consensus.
Hey, Tim. That's a lot of pressure. I'm now signed up for all the subsequent TruffleCons. I kind of like it.
Yeah. We'll be happy to have you.
We'll sign a long-term contract after this. This is great.
Sure. How's it going?
Is this not our regular monthly sync? Is this, what is this?
Yeah. So what we wanted to do is we want to have a board meeting, but with everybody involved. So
so it's our new radical transparency policy.
Right. Now, I'm glad you got that out of the way. We'll have, let's get started with Robert's rule of order, or whoever's rule it is. Mm-hmm. Okay. So how's it going?
Things are going, I almost hate to say it, but things are going really well, despite this multiply bizarre context that we all find ourselves in with the COVID and the global economic challenges and the quasi civil war that's going on. But from Consensus's perspective, and I think really from the perspective of our ecosystem, things are kind of going well.
Good. What is I'm not trying to steal your news. What's going on with Consensus?
So maybe just I'll take a sort of a broader perspective to answering that. Consensus started 5-6 years ago with the intention of continuing with the mission and vision of the Ethereum platform. And we did a whole bunch of fun things, experimental things, just trying to educate, foster adoption within the ecosystem. We did a pretty good job of that. And we were one of the organizations that was instrumental in creating this new IT ecosystem. And more recently, in the last 3 years, other organizations have been streaming in to compete in what we all think will be transformative for the planet. And Consensus has been many incarnations over the years. And early on, we were a venture studio, and we essentially brought in the best and the brightest, and that includes you very early to explore the solution space. And we invested in a lot of projects, we incubated a lot of projects, and we found that more recently, a bunch of those projects found serious product market fit and traction and coalesced into what we now think of as a blockchain stack. So that blockchain stack consists of our Ethereum client, which is now clients. We can talk about why it's clients, but we essentially now have 2 flavors of what we're calling Quorum. One's a Java flavor, one's a Go flavor based on Geth. And one of them connects to public mainnet. Both of them have a confidentiality overlay, and both of them are increasingly conformant to the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance spec. And we are working on with JP Morgan, who created the Go flavor of Quorum to continue to build out those roadmaps in parallel in conformance with the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance spec. So that's the foundation of the stack. Above that stack, we have Infura. We have Infura mainnet for Ethereum, IPFS, Filecoin, and soonish, Infura will have some other capabilities. It's our goal to essentially foster convergence. We've been working on this convergence thesis for a pretty long time, which is essentially that, like with the internet protocols and the web protocols, corporations will jump onto the platform as soon as it's scalable enough, secure enough, private, confidential enough, and usable enough. And we're starting to see that happen reasonably significantly, and we expect that to accelerate. So everything we're doing is about making it easy to use blockchain for both startups, sort of the revolutionaries, the natives to our ecosystem, as well as the evolutionaries who are from legacy kinds of companies, major financial institutions, et cetera. So Infura is going to be moving in that direction. Above that, we have Codify, which is some middleware and a bunch of software components. Above that, we have Metamask, which is both consumer focused, and I'd love to talk about Metamask's traction today because they're just absolutely crushing it. But Metamask also has the Snaps plugin architecture, which is really a B2B2C kind of construct, and the Metamask team is working with a bunch of different projects and other protocols to enable Metamask to be the interface to the increasingly decentralized World Wide Web. And there's this other project, candy-colored place where every developer wants to spend all day, called Truffle Suite and Teams, which can give easy, early access to lots of the elements of that stack. And that stack is actually sort of the backbone of what's becoming a blockchain operating system, where we're laying on a whole bunch of functionality. It's the short version of the answer.
No, that's great. That's exactly what I was looking for, and I'm sure the audience is really happy to hear all that. Earlier, I don't know if you're watching, but earlier today, during a break, I directed people to use MetaMask swaps to sell their Bitcoin for Ethereum. I think that's something that they can do. Can you, you said you want to talk about MetaMask? Can you tell us more about what's going on there and how they're killing it?
MetaMask is killing it. No, so they recently crested 1 million monthly actives for the browser extension. They started the year at about 250,000. There's another 500,000 that are less than monthly active, but significant users. And the mobile version, which is really exquisite, it's a full browser. I think it's around 300K monthlies right now. And we have released, as you indicated, a functionality that enables people to swap from their MetaMask. There's just a little button that appears on Firefox, and now we're rolling out on Chrome. And it connects to a whole bunch of trading venues. It connects to some DEXs, some DEX aggregators, some other market makers, and it enables the universe of prices to be sampled in seconds. So it's bringing back all the prices so that you can see them, but it's offering the best price. And it's a single uniform interface, one-stop shop for all the tokens that are represented across all those venues. So you don't have to go to a bunch of different places. So we're incredibly excited about the ability to aggregate various elements, and there are several more aggregations that are in the offing. So things like buying tokens with fiat payment mechanisms, might be interesting to aggregate things like yield and a bunch of other things that are important to all of us, and could really benefit from uniform interfaces.
Right. So, and they're doing all that through the MetaMask plugin, which is really just bringing all of that functionality to the place that people are already know how to use.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Earlier, you mentioned the word enterprise a bit. I think that some Truffle audience members who are here, they got to see a few talks from people who are doing things in the enterprise space, and depending on what you follow, you could sit in the DeFi space and really just focus solely on that. But I noticed what you mentioned the word enterprise. I wanted to see what you're focusing on and how Consensus is working to make that better.
So there's multiple answers to that question. So let's start with Quorum. Quorum is an enterprise Ethereum client with the first layer that is just the Geth or Hyperledger Besu application. Second layer has privacy and confidentiality for subsets of actors on these networks. In order to onboard enterprise to our technology, to our ecosystem, we needed way back years ago to meet them where they were comfortable and to help them on their journey. And so that involved early on standing up little POCs that were private. Later on, it meant standing up networks, either along value chains for provenance of things or consortia. Two of our major projects are Comgo for commodities trade finance with lots of just major financial institutions and energy companies, and a newer one that's also quite large, which is a commodities post-trade processing consortium with the biggest essentially soft commodities or food commodities companies in the world, Cargill, ADM, etc. And these organizations love the Ethereum technology. Mostly they love the technology because of you, because there are so many developers in our ecosystem and such great tooling in our ecosystem. So we've actually seen recently some major financial institutions just move over to our stack or decide to move over to our stack for exactly that reason. And so we're building out these systems for these organizations, and there's certainly interest at the right time in moving over to public mainnet, because you could imagine building a private permission system on public mainnet, just with permission systems. So we anticipate potentially linking some of those networks to one another. There's a lot of talk these days about linking networks, and Congo's linking to VACT, for instance. As DeFi gets more interesting, we anticipate that there's going to be some crossover there. But there's another major element that I think is going to drive that very quickly. Consensus has worked with Ernst & Young and with some support from Microsoft, and now a lot of support from many companies to build out something called Baseline Protocol. Baseline Protocol recognizes that corporations are still leery that their information might get exposed on public mainnet, or even if there's care taken, some sort of leakage might happen. So meta attacks, meta information attacks, and so we built a system with Ernst & Young that enables zero knowledge proofs to keep agreements and business processes in sync between organizations, between two or more organizations simultaneously, enabling them to use mainnet Ethereum as sort of reference system, so that their systems of record are able to sync up via just these zero knowledge proofs. And we think that's going to be a game changer. One thing that's really exciting, and I think we're going to see real fruit in maybe 9 months or 12 months, because it's already starting to get built, is the use of DeFi by these different projects. So we have major organizations like SAP connecting to, connecting their software to Microsoft Dynamics, et cetera. And when, for instance, in a procurement system, when trades are done, they can be done via tokens. So we can have stable coins paying for tokenized commodities, for instance, and we can tokenize the invoice. And so I think very rapidly, these organizations that are using the system are going to find some of the protocols in the DeFi space attractive. So there will be lots of liquidity for borrowing for certain kinds of transactions. And just the tokenization of things like invoicing will enable factoring, for instance, to become part of the DeFi space. So enterprises coming to DeFi, maybe it's 12 months away.
Awesome. I mean, I know that I'd love to see that, especially like when you're starting as a crypto native and then see what enterprises are doing. It's awesome to see them merge. This kind of like goes into the next question that I wanted to talk to you about, more like higher level future kind of thing. The general question is, where do you see blockchain technology going? But like maybe more specifically, is the future going to include one chain to rule them all? Is the future going to include multiple chains? How does Eth2 play into this? Can you speak to that and how that goes with the consensus strategy?
Yeah, so I think we can only have visibility into the fairly near future. Fairly near future is going to see the present play out, where L2 on top of Ethereum 1 becomes very, very significant as we bring tens of thousands of transactions per second throughput online to Ethereum for different applications. I predict that there will be some unification of L2s in the sense that interfaces might show different L2s. There might be ways to sequence transactions across L2s. There might be ways to move tokens directly between L2s. All of that, of course, benefits enormously when Ethereum 2 phase 1 rolls out with massive data availability through lots of shards, and it's going to be exciting when Ethereum 1 and Ethereum 2 merge into Ethereum. So at some point in the not too distant future, and it's sounding like it might happen sooner than we all thought, Ethereum 1 births Ethereum 2, Ethereum 2 grows up a little bit, and then it envelops Ethereum 1, and Ethereum 1 ends up living as part of roughly a shard on Ethereum 2. But it's I think for most of us, it's about recognizing that decentralized protocols bring this trust characteristic. The trust enables much better collaboration amongst actors who don't know one another, don't trust one another. It brings digital scarcity so that we can tokenize all the things. And it's essentially about making the web more decentralized. So the increasingly decentralized web will have protocols like Ethereum and Bitcoin and a bunch of others that figure out where they slot in. Some of them will slot in specific niches. I think they'll all be connected together. There's a lot of connectivity to Ethereum happening right now with bridges, rainbow-colored bridges, and other bridges. So we've started doing a ton of work with Protocol Labs, where we're offering Filecoin through Infura, a lot of support for IPFS. We've done that for a long time. We're doing the same. We're offering connectivity to the network and soon other things related to Filecoin through Metamask. More to come on that front. Lots of excitement, but it's another major heavyweight layer 1 protocol. Represents distributed storage, and that's we need trusted transactions, guaranteed execution of agreements on blockchains like Ethereum. We need the distributed storage. We need distributed bandwidth. We need decentralized identity, proof of location, heavy compute, etc. So that's what the future looks like in terms of infrastructure, and what we build upon that. Sort of hearkening back to the top of the call where we talked about the fact that we're doing well despite the complexities of the current context that we're in. I think the current context, for as long as it remains challenged, is an opportunity for us, and it's probably going to enable us to build with less resistance, so that we can start building collaboration network systems that have governance, that define goals, that raise money, that execute their plans, so that people can more granularly build systems, participate in systems that do things that they care about, and not need to rely so much on state or other kinds of systems to take care of us. So the future looks like us living our lives, working, playing, investing, etc., on these collaboration networks.
Joe, that's amazing, and it's awesome to have you here and to tell us about that. I have one more question for you, and that is: has Consensus made any progress on on-chain voting?
So I was asked this in an important call yesterday. So we, a long time ago, we had a project called Boardroom. So there were a bunch of different sort of scenarios with different kinds of voting explored there. We haven't done a voting project recently, but in the United States of America, they have a really good voting election system that, despite outrageous challenges, seems to operate reasonably well. I'm not suggesting that the United States continues to use that, because it is pretty antiquated, and I'm sure there are some vulnerabilities built into it, but it works remarkably well. Other things in the United States and the planet don't work so well, like the media, and we have some ideas around that too. But yeah, we all need to get really serious about building out a voting system that enables people to vote anonymously, so they're not easily manipulated, enables people to have receipts from their voting so that they can be certain that their vote was counted. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of resistance to building those things and getting them adopted going forward.
Certainly will work a lot faster, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Joe. Again, always great to have you. We wouldn't be here without you. Yeah, thanks for speaking with me.
Pleasure. Thanks, Tim.